I have a certain grudge against quantum mechanics that is mostly tied to the speculative nature of quantum mechanic interpretations. Probably the most annoying one would be the many worlds interpretation, one that postulates every moment of this universe splits into either infinite or extremely many parallel timelines, where the different outcomes of the quantum interactions lead to different timelines. On a tangential note, I think this quantum mechanics interpretation is mostly beneficial to Hollywood, because every time they screw up an IP, they can just reset it back like nothing happened. That point aside, the biggest issue with many worlds interpretation is its untestability, because we experience only one timeline, and all of the other multiverses and manyverses that come from this quantum splitting might as well be imagination. These glaring issues with the many worlds interpretation do not prevent people from adding their own ad hoc theories that, just like many worlds interpretation, also cannot be tested. And the most moronic one that I came about is the quantum immortality theory. Quantum immortality postulates this: if every moment of time splits into different quantum outcomes, in certain of these outcomes you would end up dead. Your conscious would stop. So your consciousness would always shift into the reality where this doesn't happen, meaning that you are permanently immortal somehow. While there is no mechanism of action that would facilitate this shift presented in this theory, I think it comes from the same place where my framework comes, which is a realization that you cannot make a conscious observation of reality without being conscious. Both quantum immortality and my framework conclude that you are indeed immortal, but in very different ways, and I will elaborate on that later on. Two biggest issues with quantum immortality are sleep and general anesthesia. In both of these examples, you had a period of time where you were not conscious, but this quantum magic did not kick in to save you from it, which I am indeed glad for, because there are many medical procedures which you do not want to be conscious for. Some of you will argue this is not a proper analogy because in both cases of deep sleep and general anesthesia, you will usually wake up, but I will argue that in case of your death, your body will disintegrate. But unless you're believing in some specific body magic that binds specifically your soul to your body or your consciousness to your body, whatever set of particles, configurations, or wherever caused you to be conscious before will happen again somewhere in the future. And this is just taking the size and the time scale of the universe into account. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter when this happens. If it happens after a couple of minutes, couple of hours, couple of days, couple of billions of years, during the time you are out cold or dead, you will not have time perception, meaning that period is completely meaningless and unperceptible to you. If there was a way to store your memories and then copy them back whenever it happens for you to get reborn, the period of between you're dying and you're getting those memories back would still feel like a blink of an eye, like waking up from anesthesia. It seems to me, in order for quantum immortality to be true, it would have to conclude that your consciousness is one-of-a-time thing that is never gonna happen again, no matter what randomly happens in the universe, no matter what technologies we discover, it will always be one-of-a-time thing, and it needs to be saved by this weird quantum speculation that we don't have any valuable basis for. And on top of it all, it would still require an additional layer of bureaucracy for this effect to kick in case you are out cold for multiple years in some strange futuristic hibernation or something, and your consciousness is going to be out for years, hundreds of years, thousands of years, etc. I think the argument I presented up until this point clearly invalidates the quantum immortality theory, unfortunately discouraging some Redditor to test the quantum immortality using the Russian roulette method. So now I will self-promote the high probability framework and its interpretation of your immortality. So far, we have split your consciousness into two distinct concepts: anima and interface. Anima being the core of sentience, whatever enables you to experience life from your own personal perspective, and interface, which is generated or created by the brain matter or physical vessel that you have. These two concepts have sort of mechanical interaction where interface and its power determine how fast the anima spins. So human consciousness has interface of a certain size that spins the anima at certain speed, and we call this feature of the interface power. Anima has no locality, it cannot be deleted or destroyed from this universe, it is basically fundamental, unlike interface, which spawning has facilitated by the physical vessel, and the physical vessel abides to the laws of thermodynamics and entropy. Keep in mind that high probability framework does not imply reincarnation, it implies a certain panpsyche that we all share, a singular core of sentience that I labeled anima. So if we analyze sleep, general anesthesia, or death in this framework, you can argue that sleep is when your interface gets on a very low level that you cannot interpret as consciousness. General anesthesia is even deeper to that, and death is of course just removes the interface completely and only anima is left until it finds another interface to start the consciousness again. Both high probability framework and quantum mechanics conclude that you are immortal, it's just that quantum immortality is really stupid. Thank you for our time.